Don Lemon of CNN is a wicked person, is an evil liar, is a son of Satan. And because he's black and he's on CNN, he can get away with doing and saying whatever he wants. I believe I saw him once, and we reported on it at a New Year's Eve thing down in New York somewhere. And the guy was drunk, or had been drinking. You could tell he was drunk. And I think he introduced his so-called boyfriend. This guy has no values at all. None, zero. And he can get away with saying and whatever he wants and doing what he wants. CNN says nothing. He says what he wants about white people and get away with it. If a white person said and did what Don Lemon does on air, he would be fired immediately. This is from CNN. Don Lemon says, we have to stop demonizing people and recognize the biggest terrorist threat is white men radicalized to the right. This man is a liar and he's evil. Here's that soundbite.
So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right. And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they have the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that?
First of all, how is he able to say that about white people, white men or white people, and white people just sit back and take it? Where's the fight in you? The good fight, as the president is doing. How can this idiot, lying idiot, sit there and say that? Just for your information, we have the FBI most wanted terrorists. Most are Muslims, not white men. Most are Muslims, not white men. This man is a liar. This, whatever he is a liar. And then blacks are more than 6 times as likely to commit murder than whites. He's not mentioning that. What do we do about that? And they get away with it because it's happening to white people. Another soundbite from Don Lemon, CNN. We got this from CNN. Don Lemon addresses the controversy.
Well, tonight I also want to talk about some uncomfortable truth. The truth about who really carries out domestic terror attacks in this country. Earlier this week, I made some comments about that in a conversation with Chris. I said that the biggest terror threat in this country comes from radicals on the far right, primarily white men. That angered some people.
Because it's a lie.
Let's put emotion aside and look at the cold, hard facts. The evidence is overwhelming.
That's a lie. According to the FBI most wanted terrorist, it's come from the Muslims. This idiot is a liar. And I hope white people and blacks and others who are on the side of good, let CNN know how you feel about this. We got to deal with stuff. Children of God, men and women of God. We got to deal with stuff. Look at the president. He's an example. You got to push back with truth. Evil has no authority unless you give it to it. If it can intimidate you, get you fired, it has no authority. Call you names, if you don't give it to the name calling, it has no authority. Really. Greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. If there ever was a time to start pushing back against evil, now's the time. Really. Now's the time. This is Don Lemon, just such a wicked person. He said, Don Lemon, as I mentioned earlier, says we have to stop demonizing people and recognize the biggest terrorist threat is white men radicalized to the right. It's a lie. And to white men, if you get angry about this, you're going to come out fighting in the wrong way. And then they're going to say, see, I told you. Look at them, right? But if you recognize this is evil, this is a lie, but don't hate it, then you'll come out fighting in the right way, you can win this battle. They want you to be angry. That's why they said in a certain way. when people say things about me, it just rolls off my back. It's so funny. It has no impact because I don't have that anger. So Don Lemon addressed the customer. We played that, right, Joel? Yeah. Here's where Don admits most killings were by Islamic extremists, and they commit disproportionate violent attacks.
Even though more people died in attacks connected to Islamic extremists, the vast majority of deadly attacks in this country from 2001 to 2016 were carried out by far-right violent extremists. Far-right plots and attacks outnumber Islamist incidents by almost 2 to 1. Homegrown extremists of all kinds killed at least 372 people in the U.S. from 2007 to 2016. Right-wing extremists were responsible for 74% of deaths. Left-wing extremists were responsible for only 2%.
Even that's a setup. He doesn't count Muslim attacks as left-wing extremism. Watch this. That whole thing was a setup. He's a liar. Here we go.
Of the domestic terror attacks, those not carried out by jihadists, 68 were by far-right groups. Only 8 were by left-wing or black separatist groups. So let me break that down for you even further. Their analysis shows that for every 8 deadly attacks by right-wing extremists, there were 1 by left-wing extremists. Those are the facts. So people who were angered about what I said are missing the entire point.
James, I don't know what you're telling me. That's why I told you to come in. Now you're telling me stuff, and I have no idea what you're talking about. My producer trying to get my attention about something. I want you to know there are 3.5 million Muslim in the U.S., or 1.1% of the U.S. population. But Don's numbers shows Muslim radicals commit disproportionate terrorist attack. And there are 197 million non-Hispanic whites, 6%, and they don't commit disproportionate terrorist attack. Isn't that amazing? He's a deceiver. This guy's a deceiver. And Gerald, you were telling me that there are people complaining about it, right?
Yeah, there's a headline saying Don Lemon faces backlash for saying biggest terror threat in this country is white men. And then there's another one saying people are angry at his comment, saying with him saying they're missing the entire point.
And where you getting that from?
Mediaite.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But what?
I was saying it's interesting. It's rare that you even hear them even saying anything about or even being angry about somebody like him saying anything.
I know. That's why I'm trying to encourage white men and women, don't be angry when you hear this crap. Just speak up and deal with it. Without the anger, you can't lose. Really, you cannot lose. James is here, too. You want to give us something on this? My producer, James, and the host of The Hake. The Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Thank you. So you cited the numbers, the population numbers of whites to Muslims?
Yes.
Whites are 60% of the population, Muslims are 1%. And whites are 197 million in population, and Muslims are 3-point-something million, 5 million. So it should be closer to 200 to 1 terror attacks. It should be 200 times as many white terror attacks as Muslim terror attacks, but it's only 2 to 1, not 200 to 1.
Deceivers. Mm-hmm. Children of the lie. And isn't Don's little boyfriend white?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have like a little white boyfriend? Or something like that. Is he a terrorist? Is his little white boyfriend a terrorist?
I don't know. But then the other thing is, like, they talk about how there's supposedly hardly any leftist terrorism. The left has been getting their way the past 16 years.
Yes.
They haven't had to commit any terrorism. But they still have.
Well, I'm glad to know that somebody has spoken out against this, Joel.
Right.
That's really cool. White folk, the president is here now. You can speak up. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be a white male. It's okay to be a nationalist. And let them call you a white nationalist. Fine, you're white and you're a nationalist. And your point is, yes, when they call you white nationalist, yes, I'm white and I'm a nationalist. And your point is, I'm a black nationalist. And the point is, overcome good with overcome evil with good. Overcome evil with good means don't resent it. Discern it, see it, speak up, but don't resent.